So once you've defined your dream, then we get to the second principle, which is the R in the word dream. It stands for remove the obstacles. I mean, how many of you know, just a show of hands, that along the way to your dream, you're going to encounter some obstacles, right? Because the path is never a straight line to success and to your dreams. It doesn't happen that way. But most of the obstacles that you encounter along the way are not physical. They're mental. Most of them. Even the ones that are physical, they actually have a very strong, significant link to your mind. Not all of them, but most of them. And there's two ways to remove an obstacle. You can physically take an obstacle and move it out of your way. But if they're not physically there, then you have to work your way around it. But that's the difference with people who go on to achieve their dreams and those who never do. The ones who never do give up when they hit the first obstacle. That's it, they're done, and they quit. But when you've got a dream inside you, something you want so bad more than anything, the ones who live that dream are the ones who find the way around the obstacle. So most of those obstacles, I said, are not physically there, they're mentally there. They're mental ones. And they exist in the form of fears, negative thoughts, and self-limiting beliefs. In 1991, there was a study of heart math. Anybody ever hear of that study? Study of heart math was where heart math was an institute, and they were studying the effects that human emotion had basically on the physical body. And they examined DNA to find out what it was. So they took a bunch of people and they extracted DNA from each person. And they put the DNA in these test tubes and shipped them off in this one room. They had all the laboratory settings hooked up. They put the people in another room. And these two rooms were nowhere near each other. So the people who were in the room, they were sitting in front of this big screen. And what they did was they showed these different images at random to the people. And what they were trying to do, they had all the computer hooked up and all the settings ready they were studying the changes in their emotional state depending on the image that they saw. And what they found was really interesting because what they saw was at the exact time that the people's emotional state changed, the DNA from that person that was all the way in some remote room somewhere changed its shape. And it happened across the board. So this was one of the first scientific studies that proved that your emotional states can actually change your physical body at the level of your own DNA. So what I'm saying is that you can think yourself into sickness, into disease, into all kinds of physical problems by the power of your thoughts and emotions. So what do we do? That's the question. When we have all these fears and self-limiting beliefs and these negative thoughts, well, how do we get beyond them? That's the question. That's what I went through. Because I read all the books and I heard all the motivational speakers tell me, well, you just got to believe in yourself. You can't be afraid. But what do you do when you don't believe in yourself? How does anyone tell you how to do that? How do you overcome fear when you're so afraid that you can't do things and at the outlook of your life? How do you overcome it? There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics written by Maxwell Maltz. And in that book, it says that we act and behave according to our self-image, regardless of whether it's true or not. And if you think about it, it's true because some people always see us as differently than we see ourselves, right? We see ourselves very differently, and we act and behave according to how we see ourselves, not how other people see us, really. And it's so true, but I started looking at that, and what I noticed was that there was a little bit more to it. It wasn't just the self-image. What I came to realize was that we think and we act according to what I call your self-concept. And your self-concept is basically your overall idea of who you are. And it consists of two things, your self-image and your self-talk. Your self-image is how you see yourself. How do you see yourself? What's the picture you hold in your mind of yourself? And your self-talk is how you talk about yourself and to yourself. So think about it. If you carry a disempowering self-image, if you talk about yourself, about all the things you can't do, all the things that you'll never have in your life, all the things you don't like, and you don't see yourself as somebody who's capable of having your dream, think about what you're feeding your mind and how your life is going to be. Because remember, as you think, you have the power with your thoughts and emotions to create your physical body, your life. But imagine if you changed the self-image and the self-talk. Imagine if you saw yourself as somebody who was energetic. Every day you wake up and you're looking forward to the day ahead and all the things that you get to do with your life. Imagine getting out of bed and just feeling good. Imagine how all that makes you feel. A little bit lighter, makes you sit up a little bit straighter. Carrying that image with you can empower you. It changes the image that your mind has to focus on, because remember, your mind will bring into reality what you feed it. So if you take out the disempowering image and you put one in that you choose, you're going to create the command for your mind to go find it and make it reality. The same thing with your self-talk. Being aware of the conversations that you're having with other people and with yourself. Instead of talking about all the things you cannot do and the things you'll never have. What about that dream? Talking about it in ways that, you know what, I'm going to have that. I'm going to figure out, despite my conditions, I'm going to figure out how to bring that into reality. I will have my dream. When you change those two things, you change your self-concept. And remember, according to the principle in psychocybernetics, you will act and behave according to your self-concept, regardless of whether it's true or not. That's the big thing. Because if you ever had like a belief, a value that you held so near and dear to your heart, and nobody could change your mind, and if that has ever been challenged, someone came up to you and said, your belief is wrong, it's not like that. Nothing could change your mind. Think about it. It didn't matter. What if you were wrong? It didn't matter because you believe it. It's the conviction you have that makes it real. So empower yourself with the self-image and the self-talk that you choose to have to create the self-concept of the person you want to be as you go through life. And you will change how you feel. Those fears, those negative thoughts and self-limiting beliefs will no longer be the obstacles that are holding you back from living your dream. So now we get to a point where you've defined your dream. You've now removed the obstacles. So the path is a little bit more clear from where you are to getting to where your dream is. But just because the path is clear doesn't mean you're there yet. You still have to walk the path. But the thing with a dream is that it's something we haven't done before. That's why it's a dream. We don't have it yet. We want it. But in order to get it, you've got to expect more of yourself. You've got to raise your expectations to get you there. Because when you go after your dream, you have to get a little bit uncomfortable, step outside your comfort zone. And to do that, you have to set those expectations. That's the third principle. Expect more from yourself, the E in the word dream. So the problem that most people have with their expectations is that it's like they're standing on this mountaintop over here, and way across the horizon is this other mountaintop where they have that big dream over there that they want. And they want it bad, and they want it now. I give you that dream right now. So I'm going to figure out how to get it. So what they do is they jump from the mountain they're on all the way to the other side. They try to, but they don't have the capacity to jump that far. And then when they fall short, they label themselves as failures and their dreams as impossible. I can't. I tried and I failed. Therefore, my dream's impossible. And instead of figuring out how to get to that other side, they do the opposite. They say, well, if I can't have that, I'll settle for the next best thing I can get. I used to have clients that did this all the time when they had big weight loss goals. I want to lose 35 pounds. Okay, great. But there was work involved in it, and it takes time. You don't lose 35 pounds overnight. So they would start along the way, but then the challenges were tough. They weren't seeing enough progress in the way that they wanted, and they give up. And then they say, well, it's not really possible for me. So I'll tell you what, I'll be just happy with losing maybe 10 or 15 pounds. And then here's the problem. They either never get to the 10 or 15 pounds because they give up again before they ever get there, or if they do achieve it, they're not happy. It doesn't make them happy because it's not what they really wanted. They're just settling for what they think they can get. So instead of settling for what you think you can get, you keep your eye on the prize. But you don't have to jump from the mountain you're at all the way to where your dream is in one shot. Wouldn't it make more sense to just build a bridge that you can walk across to the other side?